The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us on a Back to Work Monday morning. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Now we begin with our Sierra snowmelt coverage. A man is still missing this morning after being swept away by the Kern River. Search crews were out in Kernville over the weekend. They first got the call Friday afternoon about 3 swimmers not wearing life vests needing to be rescued near Riverside Park. Initially, 2, who were both girls, were safely brought back to shore. But the third swimmer, a 21-year-old man, was swept away by the raging waters. We're still waiting to hear from the sheriff's office if the search will continue today.
Traffic is no longer backed up on the Grapevine after crews were able to get the upper hand on a large wildfire over the weekend. This was the district fire. It all started Friday afternoon along the northbound lanes of the I-5 near Fort Houten Road. It is believed to have been sparked by a trailer, and the flames quickly spread up the hill, which caused CHP to close some of the lanes on Friday and Saturday. Now all of the lanes are back open and the fire is 90% contained. So far it has burned more than 1,000 acres.
Well, it's been a long-standing problem in town. Bakersfield police say 64 vehicles were stolen in just 1 week. 21 of those vehicles were Kias. For years now, Bakersfield is ranked right at the top of all metropolitan cities in California for car thefts. And now, as if we needed any help, thieves are learning from a viral post on TikTok on how to steal Kias. 17's Cecilia Trevino has more.
She said, "Your car's gone."
Words no car owner wants to hear. Kia has claimed the first place as the most stolen brand of car in California.
Heartbroken because we've been here for 5 years and nothing like this has happened before.
Brittany Zamora didn't know about the latest TikTok viral videos on how to steal Kia cars until her 13-year-old daughter showed it to her. For Jackie Kiker, the thieves even left their mark.
They keyed it with the Kia Boy symbol on the back of the hatch.
As Kias become popular targets, the Highway Patrol asks Kia owners to take extra precautions.
Buying a steering wheel lock, those range from $30 to $40 is probably the cheapest one you will find. Make sure you apply that, park in areas that are well lit, make sure you have a alarm system that kind of shuts the engine off and the battery as well. But just being a little more proactive and then parking in areas where maybe there's surveillance cameras as well.
Jackie hopes this helps Kia owners unaware of the TikTok trend to be safer with their cars.
I hadn't heard anything about it, and that's kind of what has me distressed, is that maybe I could have taken more precautions to protect myself.
The Auto Theft Task Force of the Highway Patrol is investigating the Kia trend and tracking down those responsible. Cecilia Trevino, 17 News.
Also making news around the state, a former member of the Manson family, Leslie Van Houten, could soon be a free woman. Governor Gavin Newsom says he will no longer fight the parole of the 73-year-old. Van Houten has been in prison for 53 years for taking part in 2 deadly stabbings at the direction of Charles Manson. Governor Newsom rejected parole for Van Houten 3 times already, but a state appeals court in May said she should be released. Van Houten could be freed in 2 weeks after the parole board reviews her record.
All right, let's take you live to the White House this morning, where an investigation is underway after a small bag of cocaine was found inside the West Wing. And we could learn more later today about that investigation. White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell has more.
A new turn in the White House cocaine mystery, a more precise location of where the drug was found. This is the secure ground entrance on West Executive Avenue, often used by the president, senior officials, staff, and some visitors. Sources familiar with the investigation say the small plastic baggie of cocaine was found in a storage cubby just past those doors on Sunday night, a short distance from the tightly secured Situation Room.
Where this was discovered is a heavily traveled area where many White House, West Wing, I should be even more specific, West Wing visitors come through this particular area.
Catching the culprit, now considered unlikely. Officials say some forensic testing has been done, and the sample remains at a federal lab for additional efforts to find evidence. But sources familiar with the probe bluntly said after days of work, they do not expect to have enough to identify the individual. And by Monday, the investigation could be wrapped up. The White House has emphasized that tours are common and occurred 3 straight days before the cocaine was found Sunday night.
They happened on Friday, they happened on Saturday, and Sunday.
Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton sent the Secret Service director a letter demanding answers and asking, how often has the Secret Service encountered illegal drugs at the White House complex? Sources say the Secret Service has no record of illegal drugs being found at the White House in recent memory.
Turning to a traffic alert now, in southbound I-5 near the LA County line is getting ready to fully reopen after a nighttime closure just south of the Grapevine exit. The road is reduced to 2 lanes right now. This is so workers can do some rock removal operations along the freeway. They are planning on doing these nighttime closures all week. They are set to begin at 10 o'clock every night and last until 6 o'clock every morning.
President Biden has begun a 3-nation European trip that has big implications for support for the war in Ukraine. The president's first stop is in London to meet with the new king before the NATO summit kicks off tomorrow. NBC's Alice Barr is on Capitol Hill with details.
President Biden kicking off his European trip, holding talks with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. The president also meeting with King Charles. The leaders looking ahead to this week's NATO summit with a central focus on supporting Ukraine's fight against Russia, while stopping short of granting Ukraine NATO membership.
I don't think it's ready for membership in NATO, but here's the deal. I spent, as you know, a great deal of time trying to hold NATO together.
If they were hypothetically to get NATO membership now, well, then NATO's at war with Russia.
Also testing NATO's solidarity, President Biden's decision to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. More than 2/3 of alliance members have banned the weapons because of a history of detonating after battle, injuring or killing civilians. Many fellow Democrats oppose the move.
Cluster bombs should never be used. That's crossing a line.
President Biden saying the weapons he authorized won't be used in civilian areas and have a low rate of misfiring.
It was a very difficult decision on my part. And by the way, I discussed this with our allies, discussed this with our friends up on the Hill.
He called Russia's brutal assault a war of munitions and said Ukraine was running out. Some Republicans criticizing the administration for not acting sooner.
As you look at the counteroffensive, it's been slowed tremendously because this administration has been so slow to get the weapons in.
Key tests this week for the NATO alliance and President Biden's influence on the world stage. The NATO summit kicks off tomorrow in Lithuania. President Biden rounds out his foreign travel with a visit to NATO's newest member, Finland, for the U.S. Nordic Leaders Summit. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.